Welcome back to another update. This is going to be a combination of a couple of things. After much tinkering and figuring out a bunch of convoluted crap, I think I showed you in one of the videos, this is my aluminum production, where I truck in fuel way over down there to another truck spot. I truck in the bauxite, which comes over here, which turns into the solution, which comes over here. The solution becomes scrap. Scrap mixes with silica over there, becomes aluminum, pops out there, gets sent all the way back to my factory to make aluminum. It took a lot of tinkering to try and get the numbers right, and it still doesn't always work correctly. It's like you can see this one right here screwed up for a minute. Maybe it didn't. Well, yeah. This one's idle. Yeah, which means there's still tinkering in place, trying to figure out it's tough because you have to manage water that comes off of the aluminum because you need water to produce the solution, but then producing the scrap produces scrap water, which I currently send down over here. I had these overflow tanks. There were times where I kept coming back here and being like, why the hell is my aluminum stopped? And then I realized, oh, because I had too much water, and the water that I was pumping back here was being like negated by these two water pumps, which were also pumping water, but I need the water pumps to pump some water to fill this. It's convoluted. There's my bauxite coming in. Now I have too much bauxite, so I'm like producing not enough solution, I guess. Anyway, so one truck, that's the truck that goes down there, comes back with bauxite, which is this red mineral. There's another truck that came by. As you can see, there is sulfur coming out here. I found a sulfur mine on this side over here, back up in those hills over there, so it wasn't too far away, so thankfully I didn't have sulfur going like flying all the way across the whole continent to get over here. The sulfur, in order to make sulfuric acid, it requires sulfur and water. So that's this right here. It's making sulfur and water. I'm using some leftover water from the alumina solution and from the aluminum over there. The water is kind of all connected with these pipes, comes back up here to the sulfur, makes sulfuric acid. As you can see, my radiation level is going up. I'll explain that in a minute here. Into these tanks over here, this is sulfuric acid. I have all these extra tanks because for a while I just had sulfuric acid kind of like sitting around. Wasn't sure what to do with it. I used some of the aluminum over there to make some aluminum casings, pipe it up here with some of the alumina solution and sulfuric acid here. This is producing batteries. Batteries they're like fuel. I have a ton of them now. They're fueling in this truck stop because one of those trucks runs on batteries, one of them runs on fuel. The other of these batteries is coming all the way over here to this drone port. So this right here, this is limestone. There's a right down on the side over there is just a simple mining thing. It's taking limestone, sending the limestone down here into some constructors for concrete because it's easier to just make more concrete than it is to like fly it over here or something. And this is a drone port that is bringing in uranium. How exciting is that? That green stuff right there, that is a bunch of radioactive uranium. Makes this whole area radioactive. Thankfully, I have some iodine filters to keep myself safe. In the bottom left corner, you can see I have 38 of them slowly going down. These are two blenders. They require sulfuric acid, concrete, and uranium, and they produce encased uranium cells, which are themselves radioactive. And they also produce leftover sulfuric acid. So they take 8 basically to make, and then they give you 2 back, 2 meters cubed of sulfuric acid. So they're producing 40 per minute. They take 40 per minute to produce. They produce 10 back. So I have that kind of pipes back into the system over here. I use some valves so that because the way liquids flow, they will backflow. So if I have this container here, see how it's pretty low? This is all fluid from there, piping up over here, and not from these generators right here, because this valve stops this from being filled by these over here. So these producing sulfuric acid will not backflow into this container here and fill this up and then backflow here and stop production over here, because that's what's happened to me before, where there's just the whole pipeline was full of sulfuric acid. So I had to use valves to control it, to get it directed multiple ways. So that this is using some sulfuric acid, and so far I've been okay. As you can see, I don't have too much acid built up. And if I need to, I will just flush the tanks. I am not good enough to have everything super perfectly working. Like this, as you can see, is backed up, and that's how it is. I don't have everything working absolutely perfectly yet with counts and how that works. But anyway, the drone over there pulls in the uranium. The uranium mine it was in this little cave way down there where I was getting the aluminum ore, the bauxite. It pulls the uranium there, and then another drone, and then I basically reload from the uranium over there. I put those uranium encased cells back into that drone part, and it is flown all the way over here. That right there. Ooh, yeah, so the light just turned on. That is my first nuclear reactor. Those encased uranium cells are flown over here. They're mixed with some other stuff, and they're in this thing right here. It produces a uranium fuel rod. I have an output multiplier to multiply it by 2. Because this drone doesn't land super often, and when it doesn't seem to make a ton. But yeah, so one drone flies to that port over there, drops off uranium. Another drone flies from that port to here, back and forth. 2 separate drones, drops off the uranium cells. And apparently it's not enough to continue making uranium, so I got to fix that. But I should have, 41 uranium cells. They last about 300 seconds, which is a decent amount of time. I did put one in once and then took it out right away and kind of messed stuff up. So here we are. We are going to connect. Boom. Let's build, and let's watch our uranium fuel rods go into our nuclear reactor, and let's watch it turn on. Kapow! We have liftoff. Nuclear reactors produce... They take 0.2 per minute, so they take multiple minutes. They take a ton of water, and they produce uranium waste. I don't know what I'm going to do with the uranium waste. I don't know where I can put it yet, but 300 seconds, 2,500 megawatts. So that basically jumped my power up to 8,000, which is nice for everything else I have going in the way. And now we're producing, here we go, gallons of waste. Radioactive waste. I'm sure I'll figure out something to do with it, I hope, eventually. Or, yeah, I'll just, do the exact same thing we do on Earth and just hide it in a corner and hopefully not look at it. But yeah, that is my nuclear update. Other updates to come. I got some other fun stuff going on here. As you can see, this is drastically expanded as well. But yeah, cool. I wanted to show you my first nuclear reactor, and there it is.